Ladies and gentlemen, the Witch King is back in business here in this Dark Elf vs. Beastmen showdown. It's going to be Malekith facing off against Malagor the Dark Omen, and Malekith is certainly making a huge comeback in the meta. If you've been following recent tournaments, he's been doing very well on his dragon because he's honestly just a raid boss. You put Malekith on the dragon, he has Gaze of Malice, which is really good for clearing out Jap infantry like spears and enemy archers and things like that. But more importantly, Soul Stealer is really good. It doesn't do as much like damage as it did before, but it's a really good healing ability. So if we take a look at Soul Stealer up on the dragon, he obviously has 8,400 HP, and Soul Stealer does heal for 1% of their total HP per second, and the duration is going to be 12 seconds. So it's a 12% heal, which is pretty good, and it still does decent damage, right? So I think that has made Malekith very good, but it kind of makes me think maybe Lokir could be making a comeback as well. It's really cool in the new domination to be seeing, big monsters actually being viable. Like my opponent here has a Jabber Scythe, I have Malekith. I've been seeing the Dread Saurian doing well just because of the value trading being more important than just mouth breathing on objectives with cheap infantry. It's just in such a superior place to where it's been. Now, as far as this matchup goes, just kind of look at what was good in land battle, right? Scourge Runner Chariots. So you got Scourge Runner Chariots, and they're just incredibly solid against Beastmen in general. They can kill the infantry with their chariots, and the shooting against the monsters is very good. Malekith going to be up in the sky, looking to drop some Soul Stealers and Alpha Strike weak targets. And in the back, we have the new and improved Bleak Swords. Bleak Swords are just an amazing unit. Great stats. I mean, 37, 33, 35. State Troopers, look at photos of Bleak Swords on the Night and Shed tiers. These things are just so good. For 450, they're probably one of the most cost-effective, baseline chaff infantry in the game, honestly. So we got 3 of those, and the Sisters of Singing Doom. Terror is just very good against Beastmen, and these guys, these ladies, I should say, they do cause terror, and they're pretty good at fighting, and rampaging is always strong. Now for Arrow's build here, facing off against the Great Arrowcrastic, he does have Ungor Spearmen, as well as more Ungor Spears and Archers. A couple Bestigors to the back as well, so pretty cool choice. Bestigors, of course, kind of caught me off guard here a little bit, hoping I'll be able to shoot them down with the Scourge Runner Chariots, and it is going to be some pigs and a big old scary Jabber Scythe moving in. Probably knowing that, Corsairs as well as Bleak Swords are very much a staple in Dark Elf play, the Jabber Scythe is an efficient counter against both of them. It's a Mortis engine and, of course, an anti-infantry monster. What is not to love? So Scourge Runner's going to be doing a little bit of poking. I didn't know that his Raiders were here, so just going to be kind of pulling back there. Scourge Runner Chariots, of course, looking for some pokes. I had them at fire at will, and right now we are just going to be trying to shoot at the pigs, trying to rampage the Razor Gores a little bit. Jabber Scythe's going to be coming up, and Jabber Scythes can be kind of hard to hit with the way that they move sometimes, especially their attack animations. They do these weird leaping attacks that makes them surprisingly difficult to actually focus. Now Malekith using Gaze of Malice, one of his better abilities, and you can see it does a ton of damage here against these Ungor Raiders. Really good against Chaff in general, and Beastmen I think are just a lightly armored roster, and there's lots of good opportunities for that. Now Marathi is also very good. She's not going to be as much of a big beatdown presence, but her debuffs, her Soul Stealer, and some of her items are just very, very good as well. So Dark Elves I feel are in a really cool place, and honestly, I've been, trying to decide what factions I want to add to my repertoire in competitive. I obviously main Empire, and Empire is a little bit on the weaker end of the spectrum. So I wanted to add some factions that weren't egregiously overpowered, but were also decent. And Dark Elves felt like a good candidate. They seem to have a very solid 50% win rate, give or take. I think they're around 60%, which is very, very good. So Malekith here is getting in there. He got a little bit of damage against Malagor, who certainly did not drink his Red Bull, and he got caught and is going to be forced back. In the meantime, Scourge Runner Chariots circling about, looking to get some engagements, and trying to get pokes, but honestly my opponent here is doing a great job screening me out, making sure that I can't get into the Chariots and shoot anything of value. But still able to get some overextending units. These Ungor Spearmen Herd's going to be beaten down by the Witch King, and this is kind of a little classic Dark Elf pokes, right? On the far side, I got some Bleak Swords, but my opponent summoned against some Blackhorns Ravagers who will decisively defeat Bleak Swords in combat, so we're going to have to kind of account for that and send some units. Now, another thing that are really, really good on the Dark Elf roster are Colbonites, and these guys are just badass looking, number 1. But number 2, Primal Instincts for Lizardmen and for Dark Elf Cav that have this, kind of Lizard Riders are, they got buffed massively, right? So when their HP drops below 50%, instead of rampaging and being stupid and just dying, and, running into spears, they get charge bonus, melee attack, and physical resist. So that's a really, really nice buff to all the Cold One Knight type Cav, which I really, really like. And back here, it looks like some wild hogs are going to be coming forward. So the piggies of the old world looking to get in there, and we do use Gaze of Malice again, so Gaze of Malice does hit the pigs as well as the Ungor Spearmen Herds, doing some respectable damage, taking some big shots up at Malagor, trying to pick him off when he was standing a little bit idle. But the Beastmen are pulling the trigger now, and I did have the middle objective with the initial skirmishing, but at this point we are going to have to give it up. Honestly, fighting the Beastmen here is very, very precarious. I think taking head-on fights versus the Beastmen as Dark Elves, you're typically going to be losing. You need to soften them up, kind of pull them apart, force them to overextend with good skirmishing, and accrue value over time. Now, we do summon in Dark Riders. Dark Riders going to have to support the Bleak Swords. You can see, of course, these big boys are coming in, 42 speed against 33. And the Elves are like, oh, look at that. He like turned around and swung as the guy was chasing him. That was kind of a cool animation there. But the Bleak Swords will eventually fight. I summoned in double Dark Rider. I figured that would be enough because he has Centaur's great weapons here. Centaur great weapons only have 22 melee defense, so Dark Riders actually trade reasonably well into them compared to the shielded variant. So the Dark Riders will move over there. The Scourge Runner's also going to come help out a little bit. I'm just delaying the middle fight, sacrificing some points on the scoreboard to try and just stabilize this side point and get value here by winning these fights. So one unit of Dark Riders moves in. We do get the side charge here on the old Blackhorn's Ravagers. So should be able to do very well here as the Dark Riders do get that engagement. And over here, Dark Riders for Centaurs. Centaurs did get the downhill charge on me, so it was a little bit tough, but they're still holding well. And I do have these Scourge Runners to put some shots into them when I'm ready. Now, another great unit against the Beastmen is going to be the Blackheart Corsairs with handbows. These guys are going to be pulling back, maneuvering away from the Vestigores, and just kind of wailing on them while Malekith continues to rampage, and it's just an unholy presence. Really, the Beastmen army doesn't have a whole lot that's good against Malekith. The Ungor's shooting can, the pigs surrounding him maybe, but aside from that, there's no like Gorbals, there's no Toroks, there's no combat characters that are really going to be incredibly impactful against him. So Colbonites moving up once again. We can see the Blackheart Corsair handbows also maneuvering up, going to be taking some pot shots where they can. And here we're going to be dropping a Soul Stealer. You know, Malekith had taken some damage, and I just wanted to hit a couple units. Not going to do crazy damage, but it's a 3-for-1 there, and it's more about healing Malekith here. So he's going to be healing for 12% of his total HP right now. In the meanwhile, in this flank, we do break the Blackhorn's Ravagers, and the Dark Riders and company should be able to finish off these, especially with the help of the Scourge Runner chariots with their anti-large kind of darts there. Certainly doing some good work. So Beastmen on the push. Corsair handbows doing the 360 John Wick no-scopes right there as they continue to pull back. The Jabberslythe pushing in. Definitely don't want that thing on top. We got the Colbonites in reserve, but really trying to be conservative here, and that's kind of a hard thing to do with Dark Elves, right? You got to be really patient. So I do wait for him to overextend a little bit. Now, like, his units are very far away from help, right? They're chilling right here, and like most of the other Beastmen forces are over here in chaff units, so I can pull the trigger. The Colbonites get in there with their anti-large, and we do also get Malekith, the Witch King, getting in there. Just a super cool fight. Oh, look at that. Oh my god, things like flying with his little peacock wings here. Malekith should be able to do well against the Jabberslythe, and the Jabberslythe is taking some heavy damage. Looks like there's going to be maybe a Cygor summon coming down from Malagor. I believe that is what it's going to be. So the Cygor summon's certainly not bad. It can help you win engagements. Here you can see my Colbonites do kind of get bunker busted by the pigs and the Vestigores. So overall, that ended up being a little bit of a losing engagement for me. But there are things in the battlefield that are going quite well. Our skirmish has been doing quite good. The Jabberslythe is almost dead. We get Colbonites right here, and this is extremely cost effective. The Colbonites attack into chariots and also into a Manticore. So they basically kill both these units, right? So that's almost 1,500, 2,000 gold worth of value I'm going to be getting from much cheaper investment here on the Colbonites. Chariot's going to be drifting over here, and we get a huge Soul Stealer here on the blob, ladies and gentlemen, as we do hit all those units, and the Cygor still throwing boulders, and I'm like, man, I got to wait 35 seconds for that thing to go away. Vestigore herds do get on top of the Blackheart Corsairs, a little bit of a lapse in micro on my part, but I'll be pulling back in just a second, or maybe just attacking with both Corsairs and trying to win. Gaze of Malice going down as well, going to be hitting the Ungor Spearman herds. Bleak Swords continuing to bump and grind, as those Colbonites actually did rally and come back. And we're starting to get a little bit of a counter push here on the Beastmen. As the Jabberslythe, I know I need to kill this thing. The Sisters of Singing Doom are terror rotting quite a bit, but they are being shot by double Ungor Raider, so very good awareness here from my opponent. He does see a very viable target and is not going to be missing out on that opportunity. Oh my god, you see the damage on the Jabberslythe there? Jeez, that did so much damage against those Blackheart Corsairs. Now, we do summon in a repeater crossbow, and, my potato brain, I thought the Cygor was real for a second, so I was, wasting ammo on it, which is certainly a big mistake. Colbonite's going to be bouncing out, and also going to be potentially going for the back objective, although I didn't know that there was Gore herds lying in ambush in the forest, so not going to be working quite as well. My opponent is up on points, but mostly just going to be some heavy trading back here. Colbonite's going to be rumbling into the Feral Manticore, and Malekith is able to hunt down the big value piece, so the Jabberslythe with 300 HP is going to pay the price. Another flank push, Gore herd's coming over, going to have to send something to help there. Maybe Malekith can help, but the Jabberslythe does fall, so the giant beast of the Beastmen does fall to the Witch King, showing the dragon to still be back to the many men. It's really cool now that these big healing dragon characters maybe are good. Maybe the High Elves can kind of experiment with star dragons with regrowth and things like that. I feel like High Elves could do a very similar thing to what I did. I mean, they don't have Scourge Runners, but Illyrian Reavers could of course get some good shots. I think there's a lot of cool meta to be explored in the new Dom. Still very early on. So Bleak Swords moving up. We do get the Dark Riders attacking into the Ungors, and also the Cold One Knights doing some work. And Goreherds with shields chasing, very, very cost effective for my opponent to have the shields absorbing this ammo. However, Blackheart Corsairs are very powerful in melee actually. They have 40 melee attack right now, so they could just pile in and probably defeat the Goreherds, and Goreherds lack armor piercing, and these guys do have 80 armor. So Dark Elves have a lot of cool units. Malekith, in the meantime, going to be using a Soul Stealer up in the sky, trying to finish off the Red Bull Malagor, and we're chasing him. And now we're going to be landing on the ground, looking to get terror routes here. Most likely will work. Big Scary Dragon most likely is going to be equating to a terror route. But the value is really getting in my favor here. Beastmen are being worn down pretty heavily. You can look around. A lot of the value, just like classic Beastmen in land battles, is a false inflation due to their summons a little bit. We were ahead, I think, by about 2,000 value here. We do dodge the Pendulum, and the Witch King has just been such an unholy terror. He killed the Jabberslythe, and he's still very healthy with his healing. Over the course of a long battle, having a big terror-causing dragon with healing is, I can tell you, it is indeed a very, very good. Blackheart Corsairs being sent over to the side point. Blackheart Corsairs, if you sent one Goreherd to fight a Blackheart Corsair, the Corsairs would win. Then if you sent separately, like a minute later, another full health of Goreherds, the Blackheart Corsairs would probably still be healthy enough to defeat them too. Simply because of the bonus versus infantry, their insane leadership and armor, they're just going to trade really well into almost all the Beastmen infantry, with the exception of the best Goreherds. Dark Elves certainly got some cool tools, and honestly just a very well-rounded faction, man. And I love to see it, because Dark Elves were kind of like weird in land battles. I don't know what it was, but they didn't do as well. Obviously, I guess they didn't have the buff to Bleak Swords back then. A lot of it is the buff to Bleak Swords and the way that healing has been changed. And yeah, overall, I mean, Dark Elves have amazing skirmish and a good cav game, so they've now had many of their weaknesses kind of shored up with Bleak Swords being buffed. And Corsairs are obviously very, very good too. The middle objective belongs to us. In the back, we're thinking about threatening it. I do have some Blackheart Corsairs moving over. Going to be trying to go for the triple cap. And once you get a pretty good value lead on your opponent, it's always a good idea to try and go for a little triple cap there to put a stranglehold on them. And here Malekith's going to be coming in with yet another Soul Stealer. Going to be healing that bad boy up as the giant black dragon does descend from the skies. Going to be landing in there and getting some big, big attacks. You can see many of the Centaurs going to be going down before the noxious breath of, I believe his dragon's name's like Cerebon or something like that. But Cygor should be going. Good night, sweet prince. You did well for the Beastmen. And now the Dark Rider Peter Crossbow is going to be piling up. Sisters of Singing Doom still going, I think? No, those are actually Blackheart Corsairs. And we do see Malagor the Dark Omen just super beat up. At this point, Malekith's going to be able to kind of hunt him down. And the backfield Corsairs are holding that objective very, very comfortably. And in the back, we do have our Corsairs moving in, and also some Slaanesha's Harvesters. So the Harvesters are going to be very solid here. They're quite good against the Beastmen in general. They do very well against light armor, and of course some of the buffs they have, and the physical resist of 40% is pretty insane. Wow, I didn't actually notice it was that high. Jeez. So yeah, against a lot of units, they're going to be actually surprisingly difficult to kill. Malekith versus the Manticore should favor the big dragon. Manticores don't have the best AP, so Malekith's 90 armor is going to be very substantial here. And should be able to win this fight. Nice tail whip there. Just getting that Manticore right in its old... the Manticores kind of dogs do they look like? They kind of have a little bit of pug action going on, but then they have like a big underbite. It's like a villainous pug chihuahua mix, I guess you could say. So we do get the triple cap here. So we get the triple cap here in the back. We do get the Corsairs, and then the Slaanesha's Harvester is going to be moving around the side. Well, the Scourge Runner Chariots continue to be very disruptive, although many of them did get kind of busted off the air. It looks like there's going to be some flank pressure coming in. Razor Gores and Centaurs with great opens looking to press here. But we do have Colbonites, we got Dark Riders hanging out here, we got Corsairs. Certainly going to be a lot of stuff here that's just going to be very, very much in our favor. And we do see Malagor now being hunted by Malekith. Malekith going to be coming in looking to finish him off. Repeater Crossbows shooting into the Hogs back here, or the, I don't know, yeah, I think they were maybe shooting up in the sky at Malagor. Couldn't quite tell there, but another Soul Stealer is going to be going down. And that should honestly break the leadership of Malagor. He's going to be running for the hills. Dark Riders potentially going to be getting caught here. I do get a volley, but the pigs do close the distance. But the Corsair Handbows plus Malekith, some of the cav units should be able to hold that. Over on the side, I do overextend a little bit. Some of the Dark Riders do push, but honestly, it's not into a bad fight. They're going to trade well into the pigs. You know, pigs have only 19 melee defense, but I do decide to pull back and just defend the point here. And now Malekith's going to come in to the center, get a big terror route, and we didn't quite finish him off. He's got about 500 HP. He's much faster than Malekith. You know, he's very swift. He's got 100 plus speed. He's debuffed to 99 right now because of the wounds, I think. It does lower your speed, so when units are wounded, they do take debuffs, which I think is a really, really good change in Warhammer 3. And Slaanesha's Harvesters are just kind of hanging out. Corsair is going to be tanking the back objective, and Beastmen, without sending Bestigors over here, would take a long time to remove those. Razorgors could also do it, I suppose, but really not going to be super easy. And that is going to be it. GG, well played. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. I thought it was a really cool showcase of how good Malekith the Witch King is now. So any Dark Elf players out there, give him a try. You're not going to regret it. 4,000 value on that beast. I mean, he killed the entire Jabberslythe. He beat down, you know, he beat down Malagor. He got several good Soul Stealers off. He's just a powerhouse for sure. And as far the rest of the army goes, Colbonites 1,700 here. Repeater crossbows, 900, 700. Yeah, good stuff, man. Just everything kind of performed pretty well. Jabberslythe, unfortunately, didn't do too well for the Beastmen and the elite infantry here. I think bringing big armored infantry like that against the Dark Elves is very risky with Dark Shards and, all the armor-piercing missiles they have. It's very, very precarious. So that was probably one of the weak points of the build for sure. GG, well played to my opponent. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll be back with more replays soon, ladies and gentlemen. Lots of fun games on the horizon.